Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Coach Undress with coachingwithundress.com. And ladies, today we're going to talk about a very important topic. Very important. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, this is very important. Setting boundaries. Setting boundaries with yourself before you set boundaries with someone else. If you don't know what your boundaries are, then how do you have any direction in dating? If you don't understand what's important to you for your boundaries, then how do you have any hope in a relationship? Understanding your boundaries, how to set boundaries for yourself before you put yourself in the dating world. And this should be fun because now you're being clear and honest with who you are, what you value, and what you're looking for. The more you can actually commit and prepare this for yourself, the more, not picky, that's more of a negative sense, selective to who you want to get to know, who you want to date, who you want to go on a date with, who you want to kiss, who you want to go further with. You're selective because now you've clearly established your boundaries. You've established your boundaries for yourself. I'm going to go over a few questions I want you to ask yourself. And I want you to think about this. Before I go into those questions, think about, have you had trouble setting boundaries? Have you had trouble understanding what your boundaries are? Have you had trouble where you find yourself going with the guy's time and place and rules and boundaries? You kind of just get drifted into his way of living, losing yourself, losing your respect, losing your independence because he has everything provided. It's easier that way. Unfortunately, that's not going to resolve into a healthy, long, successful relationship. So you have to understand what's important for you. And there's no right or wrong because this is your own personal style, your own personal interest, your own personal boundary. There is no right or wrong. The more you can be clear about it with yourself, the more you give yourself a better chance of finding someone who's compatible for that, someone who understands that, someone who values those same things. Reflecting on your values, reflecting on your beliefs, reflecting on your boundaries is the best start before dating, before getting a relationship. You're making it clear and you're holding yourself accountable to understand what's important for you. So a question you want to ask yourself before you date, before you go out there, knowing yourself, knowing what you've gone through, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like, knowing what you've dated. You want to ask yourself, what traits do I like to see in another relationship? Things I've learned from my past relationships, things I did like about my past relationships, things that really value me, things that I know I have to have in someone. What do I really value? What traits do I like in someone? What traits are to be as clear as, let's not get shallow. I'm talking about like more about character, spirit, soul, value, morals, standards, goals. Someone's well-being compared to what they could provide. Has to be 6'2", has to have this. All right. Those are preferences, but what do you value? What traits do you want to see in another person? Someone who's family-oriented, someone who's outgoing, someone who's ambitious, sense of humor, someone who's open-minded, someone who's taking the time to heal, someone who wants to have kids, someone who's understanding, someone who's emotionally aware. These are all things and the traits that I want to help you remind yourself of emotional intelligence, that EQ. That EQ, don't undervalue that. Don't overlook that. You want qualities and traits on a man you're looking for based on EQ. That he has confidence, not cockiness. He's over himself. Humility, gratitude. He understands and appreciates good people. There's no ego. Doesn't care about being right. All these things of what you value in a relationship, you should be aware of. Things that you are, and write them down. Be honest with yourself. Have fun with this. Now you're painting the picture. Now you're really illustrating what you're really looking for with that question. Number two, the opposite. What behaviors bother me? What are deal breakers? All red flags aren't all deal breakers, but some red flags are, okay, we can kind of, there's something there that might be somewhat workable, some sense. But what are things that are just non-negotiable? Behaviors, personality traits, even looks. It's fine. I'm not here to judge. What behaviors are unacceptable? Can't do it. Won't do it. Not gonna, nope, sorry. Whatever it is, that's your business. Write it down. Be clear. Unfortunately, it's the yin and the yang of the situation. Know what you're looking for, what you value, what you inspire, what you appreciate, what you desire. I don't want this, though. I definitely don't want that. And unfortunately, it might be because you experienced it before. Maybe you realize that's not how you want to be in a relationship because you experienced that before. Unfortunately, it probably brings some level of pain, trauma, and sadness because I had to learn the hard way. I don't want to do that again. Write it down. Write it down. Set that boundary with yourself. And that way you know you're taking yourself responsible towards going to something better. Number 3 is, what qualities do I admire in others? It's very specific here in my notes. In others. Not men, not lovers, not boyfriends. What quality do I admire in others? Because you see the connection. Traits that I want to see in a relationship, behaviors I don't accept. Now overall to the world, what qualities do I admire in others, in people? Because now you're connecting those 3 elements. What I don't want, what I do want, and what I love in others. And if what I like has things that I love that aren't these bad behaviors, now I got something to work with. Now you're creating a real opportunity of success because now you're saying, I value these qualities in others, in my mom, in my boss, in my brother, in my coworker, in my neighbor, in my son, in my brother-in-law, anything. It doesn't have to be any, it could be the opposite sex, same, it doesn't even matter. My pastor, my freaking, my butcher down the street, man, he's full of knowledge. I admire things about him. Whatever it is, when you value something in others and you put that on paper, you value what you're looking for in a relationship, you put that in paper, and then you make it clear what behaviors are unacceptable, put that on paper. You are now designing, you are now outlining almost like a coloring crayon book. You're now outlining what this picture looks like. Doesn't have the colors yet, but you're outlining the design of what you're doing and what you're going for, establishing boundaries for yourself. Another question would be, what material items matter the most to me? It's not about being materialistic or superficial, but what certain material items are important to me? And that could be in a sense where it's memorable, could be a sense of accomplishments, could be a sense of desires. What is it that, in a sense of like, and again, it goes a little broad than just material items, personal interests. I love art. I love music. So I value my record collection. Material items. My Peloton. I'm married to I just love exercise. I prioritize fitness. Material items. I can't go anywhere without my Bible. I'm very religious. Material items. I love my closet because I take pride in looking good. That's fine. We all got some sense of it, but understand and be open with it and own it. Be honest with it. What items in your life, ladies, they love their high heels. They love their purse collection. There's nothing wrong with it. If that's what defines you, then we're going a little more the materialistic side. But if you value them because you work hard for them, good for you. Understand and be clear and write those down. What material items value to you? What material items mean the most to you and why? That's the key part. And why do those things mean the most to you? There's no wrong answer. Just be clear with that. Again, now you're still designing the outline of the picture, which is great. Next question. See, these questions go from one thing to another because it goes in order. How do I like to spend my time? So obviously there's a connection between your material things that are important to you, what you admire in others, behaviors that bother me, and quality traits I want in a relationship. So where do I spend my time? How do I spend my time? everything we just talked about before. I spend my time with my family when I'm not at work, or I go to the gym, or I'm with my friends. I'm taking this class, I'm taking this course, I'm learning this skill, I'm in traveling mode. How do I spend my time? There's no right or wrong answer. Again, illustrating, designing the image. Be honest with yourself. And that way you now know the boundaries of what's important for you. All these things are now to a point where you're more clear to communicate with someone on a date or in a relationship what is important to you. And that's key. That clarity, that transparency is key. Make it fun. This shouldn't be an assignment. This shouldn't be an interviewing process. This should be more like, I've learned a lot about myself and I like who I am and I know where I'm going and I want to present, the truth to you. That's attractive. That's desirable. When someone can be confidently vulnerable in a way. Confidently vulnerable. Think about that. Last question. What makes me fulfilled? My purpose. What makes me feel fulfilled? What makes me feel strong? Again, you're going to go back to the other questions prior to this. It's going to be a whole trail of answers leading to this. What makes me feel fulfilled? That's who you are. No right or wrong answers. When you're clear with what makes you feel fulfilled, your purpose, your identity, now you know where you're coming from on dates. Now you know what you're looking for in a date. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It could be a little, it could be less. The idea is now you're clearly establishing clear boundaries for what you are, who you are, and you should love it and own it before you expect someone else to respect your boundaries or know your boundaries or understand what your boundaries are. If you don't do this for yourself, then why would you expect someone who doesn't even know you, speaks a different language, men do, to get all that down? Be clear with yourself. And that's why I always say, date yourself before you date anyone else. Love yourself before you love someone else. Set your own boundaries for yourself before you expect someone to respect your boundaries. That's what's key. My name is Coach Andres with coachingwithandres.com. If you have any questions or need a coaching session, go to my website. I'm always here to help. And thank you very much for watching.